Yo, it's your boy Zirk, and Mike Israetel just gave us a brand new excuse for why his PhD is trash. And this one might be the funniest yet. So remember that damage control podcast Mike went on? The one he sponsors where he's got a room full of yes men nodding along? Well, I went back and watched the whole thing because I hate myself apparently, and Mike dropped some new information. Mike basically admitted his PhD-level research was remedial education for coaches who were too dumb to know that muscles make you fast. I'm not making this up. This is Mike's actual defense. Let me walk you through this comedy show.
And then if you have something like the papers off of my dissertation to give them and explain to them in very plain language, the evidence-based people would correctly say it is obvious, and they're not wrong. And the coaches would read that and be like, oh, holy shit.
So Mike's trying to defend his dissertation, right? He's explaining why his research matters. And one of the criticisms was, your dissertation just proves that bigger athletes are stronger and stronger athletes run faster. Isn't that obvious? And Mike's response is, he basically says, yes, it is obvious to educated fitness people, but coaches don't know this. Hold up. So Mike's defense is, yeah, my PhD research is obvious to smart people, but it's revolutionary to dumbass coaches. My guy, that's not a defense. That's an insult to your own work. That's like doing a doctoral dissertation to prove that the sun is hot. After 6 years of rigorous research, I can conclusively state that the sun is in fact hot. Please address me as doctor. Bro.
Some people would say like, oh, he showed that more muscular athletes are stronger, like, or more muscular athletes run faster or whatever. And I remember one guy replied, he's like, you would think that that is obvious, but I had coaches my whole career telling me not to lift weights because it's going to make me muscle bound and slow.
Here's where it gets really funny. Mike explains that evidence-based fitness people think his research is obvious because they already understand physiology. But, he says, sport coaches, like baseball coaches, volleyball coaches, they don't know this shit. Mike says some coaches think lifting weights makes you muscle-bound and slow. So Mike's dissertation exists to educate these dumb coaches who think muscles make you slower. Okay, I got several questions. First, if these coaches are so stupid that they think lifting weights makes you slow, why would they read your dissertation? Stupid people don't suddenly become smart because you showed them a 125-page academic paper with statistical analysis. If a coach thinks muscles make you slow, showing him your research methodology isn't going to help. He's going to look at your research methodology and be like, I don't understand any of this. Get out of here with this nerd shit, bro. You know what will work? A YouTube video, a simple article, a coaching seminar, not a doctoral dissertation with 200 typos and statistically impossible data.
The folks that follow Solomon's channel are in evidence-based fitness. Yeah. And so their prerequisite understanding of physiology and anatomy is very high. Like, Solomon's a smart guy and his followers are real smart. And so they're like, duh, but the dissertation, this is sports, not fitness, it's sports. And all love and respect, but there is a spectrum of sport coaches' understanding of anatomy and physiology. And that spectrum runs really high with fucking elite people, really know things, and really, really low.
Here's where Mike's logic completely falls apart. Mike says educated fitness people think his research is obvious, but coaches needed his PhD to learn this basic shit. So let me get this straight, Mike. Your PhD-level research is too basic for educated people, but too advanced for the uneducated coaches is supposed to help? That's not a niche, bro. That's a problem. Mike's essentially saying, my dissertation exists in this magical zone where smart people think it's remedial and dumb people need it explained differently. That's not groundbreaking research. That's a YouTube video. My guy wrote a 125-page dissertation to teach coaches that fat makes you slower. That's a tweet, not a PhD. PSA to coaches, leaner athletes run faster. You're welcome. That'll be 6 years of my life and $100,000 in tuition.
And then if you have something like the papers off of my dissertation to give them and explain to them in very plain language, the evidence-based people would correctly say it is obvious, and they're not wrong. And the coaches would read that and be like, oh, holy shit.
Mike tries to defend this by saying his dissertation was written in very plain language so coaches could understand it. But Mike, it's a doctoral dissertation with academic formatting, statistical analysis, research methodology, data tables, APA citations. If you wanted to reach dumb coaches who think muscles make you slow, why did you write it in dissertation format? That's like trying to teach kindergartners and handing them a medical textbook. Here, kids, this is written in very plain language about why you should eat vegetables. It's only 125 pages with a methodology section and statistical regression analysis. Super simple. If Mike really wanted to educate coaches, he should have written a book, or made videos, or done coaching seminars. You know, things that coaches would actually read and understand. Instead, he wrote an academic paper that lives on a university website that nobody visits, and then acts like it was meant for mass education. Mike, if your target audience is coaches who are too dumb to know that muscles make you slow, they're not reading dissertations. They're watching YouTube. They're going to coaching conferences. They're reading Men's Health magazine. Nobody's out here like, I don't understand if lifting makes you fast or slow. Better go to the East Tennessee State University library and pull up doctoral dissertations. So who was this for? Mike created a PhD dissertation that serves nobody. It's like building a bridge that's too high for cars and too low for boats. Mike's dissertation exists in this weird void where it's useful to absolutely no one.
And I've made fun of a shitload of people on YouTube. I've made half a fucking career out of that shit. So how mad can I possibly get that someone's giving me a taste of my own medicine? I can't get too mad about that. At RP YouTube, we used to do some negativity. Now, we were trying to make sure that it was informational. I think it always was. But we were talking that shit. It's like firing a bullet out of a gun. The bullet hits other people, the negativity, and it hurts them. Yeah. But every gun barrel has a lifespan, and it hurts you to produce negativity. And so we could very well respond to Mr. Solomon Nelson with an excoriating critique of a variety of anything of his. It's rife for the picking. But, man, fuck that. I mean, I just don't have that in me. Mr. Solomon Nelson's coming at it, all due respect, in bad faith. He wants to take me down, so he's not interested in taking an impartial objective view. He's interested in taking a lawyer-like attitude of scalpel-like incision, which is good because everything needs criticism.
Here's the crazy part. Mike almost gets it for a second. He admits, I've made fun of a shitload of people on YouTube. I've made half a career on that. So how mad can I possibly get that someone is giving me a taste of my own medicine? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. That's honest. That's real. I can respect that. Mike's basically saying, yeah, I dish it out, so I got to be able to take it. Beautiful. Character growth. Personal accountability. But then, and this is classic Mike, he immediately says Solomon is doing this in bad faith and just wants to take him down. Wait, I thought you couldn't get mad. Mike just said I can't get too mad and then spent the next 20 minutes being mad. I understand this is karma, but also fuck that guy. Bro, pick one.
It's like firing a bullet out of a gun. The bullet hits other people, the negativity, and it hurts them. Yeah. But every gun barrel has a lifespan, and it hurts you to produce negativity.
Mike has this moment where he talks about negativity on YouTube. And for a second, he sounds profound. He says, the negativity stuff, when you do it a lot, it eats away at you. It's like firing a bullet out of a gun. The bullet hits other people and hurts them, but every gun barrel has a lifespan, and it hurts you to produce negativity. Damn, Mike, that's actually deep. He says, at some point I was feeling shitty about all of it. Okay, so Mike learned his lesson. He realized that being negative and roasting people was bad for his mental health and bad for others. So he stopped doing it and became more positive. But then, 2 minutes later, he's back to talking about Solomon in a negative way. My guy, you just had a whole moment. It's like someone saying, I'm going to start eating healthy while eating a Big Mac. The Big Mac is in your hand right now, bro.
Obviously, you don't need a study to say, like, Jim Bob, who weighs 300 fucking pounds, is slower than Jamal. I don't know why I picked those names. But. And so you're like, okay, 300 pounds of extra fat, no shit.
Here's what Mike should have said from day one. Yeah, my dissertation wasn't my best work. I was young. I made mistakes. There were errors I should have caught. But I've learned a lot since then through practical experience coaching real athletes. My value as a coach comes from that experience, not from one paper I wrote 12 years ago. That's it. That's the whole response. Own the mistake, acknowledge the criticism, move on. But Mike's ego won't let him do that. He has to be right. He has to defend it. He has to come up with reasons why it's actually good. It's not bad, it's just misunderstood. It's not obvious, it's just too advanced for smart people and too simple for dumb people. It's perfect for this imaginary middle group that doesn't exist. Bro, just take the L. Mike played himself. He snitched on his own dissertation. He accidentally admitted his PhD research is basic. That's like a criminal on the witness stand who meant to defend himself but accidentally confessed. Your Honor, I did not rob that bank. Well, okay, I did, but it was a small bank. Really, it was more of a credit union, and some people need their banks robbed. Stop talking! Here's exactly what's going to happen. Solomon will make another video because Mike gave him more material with this podcast. Mike will go on another podcast with a new excuse. Actually, my dissertation was written in invisible ink that only appears under moonlight. The cycle will continue until everyone is exhausted. Mike will declare victory because he outlasted the controversy. Nothing will actually change, and Mike will keep selling programs. That's the playbook. That's always been the playbook. Mike knows if he just keeps talking and making excuses, eventually people will get tired and move on. And he's right. Most people will forget about this in a few months. Mike has given us more content in 2 weeks than most YouTubers give us in a year. Every time he opens his mouth, he makes it worse. At this point, I'm starting to think Mike is doing this on purpose to stay relevant, because no one is this bad at damage control by accident. Maybe Mike's a genius. Maybe this is all part of his master plan. If I keep messing up publicly, people will keep talking about me. If that's the case, respect. That's advanced marketing. But I don't think Mike's that smart. I think he's just a guy with a fragile ego who can't admit that he was wrong. And watching him twist himself into pretzels trying to defend the indefensible is absolutely hilarious. I'm Zirk, and I catch you next time when Mike probably admits his dissertation was actually written for aliens who don't understand human physiology. Stay educated, folks, and remember, if your research is obvious to smart people and useless to dumb people, you didn't do research, you did nothing. Peace.